Ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it again with possibly one of the worst developments you could have seen for Arknights Enfield, especially as it's getting ready for its 1.1 update. It's pretty obvious to a lot of people in the space that the 1.1 update is one of the most disappointing and probably one of the worst updates ever seen in gacha history. And you don't have to just take my word for it when it comes to the waning interest in the game. We are about 1 day out from Arknights Enfield 1.1 releasing, and by every single metric possible through every single, thing we can find on Google, interest in the game is quite easily at the lowest it's ever been. I show this chart regularly just to indicate how much it's dropping every single day. And you can see that this is what YouTube searches are looking like. Yeah, when's the last time we were below 15? Oh, it's right now, right? It's not looking good. And then when you go ahead and you change that over to web search, wow, that is a bit, like I said, it's worse than we thought, right? It only gets worse. It never actually gets better no matter what you do. And that's the reality of this game. These developers have completely f***ed up their 1.1 update, and it also turns out that alongside f***ing it up, they're doing this too. In Endfield Discord, the mods have muted all feedback threads. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is basically just this is something that I asked people to investigate because I thought this was a little bit wild. Surely, there's no way the company, the game that sent out 5 feedback surveys, right, begging people for ways to change the game, there's no way that they started banning the feedback threads after, well, people saw how disastrous the 1.1 update was, right? I thought this was just a bunch of hot air blowing. I thought this wasn't actually real, but it turns out, ladies and gentlemen, it is factual. It is confirmed. Why do you think there are 0 comments on all of these feedback threads that are still getting regularly posted? Why do you think there are no comments at all? That's because when you decide to go in and, of course, maybe share your takes on how this feature or whatever is going on isn't that good, well, this is what you get. Let's look at this one. Items on belt are lost when moving an area. You do not have permission to send messages in this thread. All the posts are getting locked. Even some people asking, hey, is there a way that somebody can help me with this problem? I cannot connect to the game. Well, the mods themselves are telling you, how about you just go f yourself? Yeah, we don't really care. Yeah, we're not going to let anybody respond to you. And that's what's happening to all the feedback in the game. That's what's happening to all the suggestions in the game. That's what's happening when players have stuff that they're annoyed about or that they want changed. Well, they don't want to have discussions on this stuff anymore. And there are like 10 more messages in here. Like, I probably could load them, but you get the gist. You're not allowed to talk about anything. So why don't we go ahead and see what some of the commentary is across the Discord regarding this issue? So can we please get a discussion thread or event thread? Supervisors, please, if you care about keeping your moderation team clean and fair, do something about these mods. They're just abusing their powers. Wait, the Discord isn't read by the devs? Then what's the point of the feedback threads? Damn it. Well, this is unfortunate. It's quite embarrassing. So let me get this straight. So basically, someone made this Arknights Enfield Discord before the devs could. Now they're the official one. And then they were like given the branding of like community managers. Basically, the people that just decided to make the Discord first and take the URL first or the naming of it first. And those people, simply because they got in and they made it first, they're now the community managers. Apparently, allegedly, that's what's going on. So the devs don't actually read the Discord. Information is simply relayed to them by these community managers. And the community managers can just decide what they personally agree with and what they personally want to relay to the developers. So it's basically just like a heavily biased filter. What an absolute Joker situation, right? What an absolutely hilarious breakdown of what's actually going on. And apparently, this guy's one of like the head mods on this team in charge of whatever the fuck is going on with this absolute disaster. It would be like my mods in my chat being like the ones that relate to Kuro Games what is going on. Naturally, they're going to be a bit more biased. I think they do an okay job at it, but you probably wouldn't want that to be how Kuro gets information from their official Discord, right? Relayed over to them. But that appears to be the method a Hypergriff is taking. You want to know why? Because I bet they're saving a fuck ton of money by doing that. Yeah, I don't even know if Hypergriff even has community managers for this fucking game, bro. I legitimately don't think so. Maybe they don't. But the reality is very clear. This is causing a lot of issues. And we have the reason over here from Zencrox for why all this feedback over here is apparently getting denied. And so let me just go ahead. Let me zoom in a little bit. A whole 1 hour slow mode kills any discussion anyone might have. It's a place to give feedback, but oftentimes there will be people who think otherwise or don't know the problem and are curious to why we're talking about it, of which we need to let them know. This is why people are saying that they should have more discussion in the feedback thread so that people can actually find out what the issues are and why they're important or why they need to be fixed. Yes, that's the point. 1 hour slow mode. Just from what I've noticed personally, there's always endless discussion ongoing in the game feedback channel. Why do you think that is? Probably because the game has a lot of things that need to be fixed. Yeah, there's probably a lot of discussion happening in this feedback channel talking about shit that needs to be fixed because there's a lot of fucking stuff wrong with the game, and version 1.1 fixed pretty much none of those fucking things. Yeah. So apparently, that just continuously clogs the forums, making it difficult for developers to read them and for the staff to moderate. Well, it doesn't even sound like the developers are reading them in the first place based off of prior things said by this mod team, and the mod team just relays things to the developers. Apparently, so I don't really know, like, are we lying here? Who knows, right? Although some of the discussion is productive, a lot of the tens of thousands of messages aren't productive to the post. Why don't you moderate them then and delete the ones that are not productive? Oh, wait, that would require them to do their job. Yeah, we can't have them doing that. And just increase the overall channel clutter, consisting mostly of off-topic discussions or arguments that shouldn't be held. Yeah, that's usually what a moderator does, is they'll clean it up instead of just saying, fuck it, put a slow mode on because I'm lazy as shit. That's why these devs usually hire a community manager. That's why these devs usually pay somebody to do this job, because it is, for an official games Discord, it kind of is a job to manage the discussion. That's typically how it would work. Full discussions is not the purpose of the channel, but it doesn't seem like you guys are moderating it at all. And I don't think you guys even spend that much time in feedback threads to backread ones that were active either, considering your response to threads that were affected. So now they're getting called out for not doing their fucking job. Let's see what the response is. There's a great handful of people that have been moderated in the forums, either receiving a feedback ban or higher punishment, depending on the severity of their actions. Also explained below that they did in fact read through every single message in the forums. It was proven by the moderation actions taken above. So are they saying that, yes, we read everything, and because we put in a 1 hour slow mode on everything, that means we read everything? They said because we put a 1 hour slow mode, that means we read through every single message, and it was proven by the moderation actions taken above. We read every single message because we put in a 1 hour slow mode. I feel like the leap in logic here doesn't necessarily make that much sense. I feel like this is something that just seems a little bit fucking absurd, right? I think most people would agree with that take when this is the reasoning that you're provided. Instead of over buffing the slow mode duration, why not just put more effort into your moderation as a whole? Again, getting called out for basically being lazy bums. Sadly, it's not entirely about moderation. It's about the intended purpose of the channel. Okay, they're just, this is a bunch of hot fucking air. It's just yapping to explain why they're lazy. I don't need to read too much more of this. How about we go ahead instead, and we've gotten a lot of this defense from the moderation team, right? We got a lot of this defense from the head moderator. Why don't we actually just take a bit of a look now, a bit of a preview as to what exactly they don't moderate on the server, about what is allowed on the server until they're called out. Let's see. So, we've got this message over here, and you're going to find this very interesting. Oh, how is this message being sent by somebody that's green that's on the server? Me when Saint. Kill him in a video game. Huh. Interesting, right? That this is the type of stuff that's allowed on the Discord. Ooh, what about this one? Yep. Oh, member since May 16th, 2025. Quite a while. Maybe the first beta test, right? What else do we got here? All Saint fans. Hey, I need to move my chat. But hey, that's you guys, boys. That's what they allow on the Endfield Discord. But feedback? Fuck that shit. Yeah, fuck the feedback, bro. Fuck the feedback threads. Yeah, this shit ain't allowed. We can't have comments over here, but this shit, hey, it's A-okay. It's acceptable. Hey, remember, right? Hey, remember that head moderator, right? Wow. Wow, not looking too good, are you here, bucko? So you just got called out for being lazy as shit and never doing your fucking job. That's not very good, is it? That's not a good look. Enfield Sigma Tester. What a community on this official Discord, right? Absolutely cooking. Absolutely cooking. What else we got going on over here? Oh. Oh, now that's a big one. Hey, they ain't even beating around the bush with this one. They just let this shit fly, bro. Hey, they just let it loose, bro. The main discussion channel for Arknights Enfield. Please use English only. Well, I guess he followed all the rules. Right? Maybe that's why this wasn't deleted. I guess he followed all the rules, right, chat? Maybe because he was such a loyal member since 2022. Yeah, maybe he has tenure. Maybe you can write shit like this on the Discord if you have tenure. Is that how it works? I guess when Xenox or whatever the fuck his name is the head mod, I guess that's how it works, right? And you wanna know why I'm saying this is the shit that was allowed on their Discord? Oh, sorry, I forgot too. Oh, I forgot too. This is another thing that they were allowing as well. Huh. Nice. Do you think this was after CJ's thumbnails? Photoshopping me over Jelaine Maxwell? Probably, right? Probably, right? Hey, that's okay as well. I know how I know these are okay. And, you know, just more. Maybe this was after CJ's thumbnail. I'm not super sure, actually. It looks about right. Look at this. I had one of my Discord members actually go ahead and try to report these to the mod mail. Guys, these messages had to be reported to the mod mail. That just means if nobody reported them, they were all just going to fucking stay up. Right? I don't even need to, like, show the fact that these users are confirmed to have been on the server. You can tell, but we already know all that, right? These had to be reported to the mod mail. That means that if they weren't reported to the mod mail, they all would have stayed up. Either due to a complete lack of moderation actually done by this team, or the fact that, hey, maybe this Zencrox guy over here was just down for it. Maybe he was just down for it and was only going to remove it until he was caught. Because that's what it looks like, right? When these posts just stay up, they're not immediately auto-modded. You don't have any moderator actually looking at any of the stuff. Or maybe they are looking at the stuff and they're just like, hey, that shit is fine. And our mod mail is going to be broken too when we go ahead and we try to take a look at it and handle it. Wow. Imagine that my Discord has a better moderation team and better moderation ability than an official one for a game. Where people are just allowed to make open accusations as well as open death threats to a content creator of the game until you, like, reach out through, like, 17 different avenues to the mods to get it sorted out. Why are you not letting me report death wishes and accusations of being a child predator off appearance alone on the Endfield official Discord server? Your message could not be delivered. This is usually because you don't share a server with the recipient. Bro, imagine that this is allowed. This is not moderated. But then this guy is going to, like, bitch and moan about, like, how much work he does when he just explicitly decides to turn off feedback because he's too fucking lazy to moderate anything. Yeah, I guess it does check out. They're too fucking lazy to moderate anything. And that's the proof. This shit is a disaster. And I'm gonna be real. The best PR move that Hypergriff could make is to disassociate themselves with this dog shit server. What an absolute mess they've created by trying to save budget by not hiring actual community managers and actual, like, fucking, what's it called, people that have experience doing this thing. Instead, you have, like, these little clout goblins over here that are gonna look for any excuse possible to not actively do anything. And that involves letting shit like this fly. Huh. Interesting. And so this issue did actually end up getting resolved eventually. But imagine that you got to jump through this many hoops to get public messages in these public channels moderated, when any normal Discord would immediately permanently ban the people that are typing stuff like this. Any legitimate Discord, if we're going to be real here. But that's clearly not what's happening over here. And so I think the end result, right, is that they've reopened up the feedback forums. I don't even know if comments are still even, like, allowed anymore. Oh, wait. No, they're just not allowing comments. Yeah, they're just not allowing comments. Everything is just in read-only now. Yeah, everything is just read-only right now, so they're still not allowing any comments regarding this situation. But I wonder, if we did another sweep, how many more death wishes or death threats do you think me or my community are going to receive? It's wild. And you want to know what the most pathetic part about all of this is? I think all they did was, like, delete the messages. Maybe they should make an announcement. Hey, open threats and accusations towards other CCs are not, like, acceptable on the server and, like, will be met with an immediate ban. because that's what this community is like doing. But hey, it is what it is. Do nothing until you're called out. Do nothing until you're called out. And this is what one of my Discord users was able to find within like 5-10 minutes of searching way back in the day. This was like early February, late January that they were looking this stuff up. How much more do you think has slipped through the cracks now? Guys, this is the reality of Arknights Enfield. This is the reality of its toxic positivity. This is the reality of what occurs when a game that has a gigantic community, right? Driven by sunk costs. This is how they react when they know their game is failing. This is how they react when they know their shit is cooked. There's absolutely nothing you can say regarding Enfield other than this entire launch, this entire release, this entire 1.0 to 1.1, and even into 1.2 and beyond. It is a fucking mess. It's a complete fucking failure. And pretty much every single creator in the space has like admitted, dude, I'm not excited for 1.1. I'm not excited for what's coming up. But you don't even have to take their word for it. All you need to do is look at every single analytics and every single analytical data point that's given to you. This shit is completely, absolutely, absurdly cooked. It's cooked. We all know it. Nobody is playing this shit. Tang and Rossi are going to be garbage. And instead of just, I don't know, realizing, hey guys, we might have to do some extra work because Hypergriff gave us a bit of a nasty thing we got to handle. They gave the most dog shit 1.1 update in gacha history. And so there's going to be a lot of people complaining. Fuck it. Fuck it. Just turn it off. Turn it off like how they turned off the PayPal button and make the problem go away. Because that's what the community accepted, bro. This community accepted these developers turning the PayPal button off and they called it a fix. They just turned it off and this community said that the PayPal issue was fixed. And so I guess, hey, Enfield's a perfect game. Look, hey, no one's talking about the problems with it. Yo, nobody's commenting in the feedback threads. Look, there's no comments on here. Clearly, this is not an issue. I guess the game has no problems then. No one agrees with these changes. Look, there's no comments, bro. Look, there's no comments. Nobody has a problem with anything in the game. Are there more wishes? Oh, this one's from today? Thursday, March... Oh, wait. Oh, no, they do have another one. Now they're asking Israel to bomb me. Yeah. And you all know, hey, until a mod mail is set in, or I guess not, right? They ain't going to delete this shit. They're asking fucking Benjamin Netanyahu to bomb me on the official Discord in the official channel. What do these guys even do? What do these guys even do? What is this community, bro? This shit is cooked. This shit is completely, absolutely fucking cooked. And you know that's a fact. You know that's a fact. I mean, at this point, I think this server should be reported. I think this server should actually be reported. I'm gonna be real here. They're just openly allowing actual threats and wishes. Yeah, the official Enfield Discord, bro. And the funny thing is, bro, I got like 700 messages to put in here for the thumbnail. It's gonna be glorious. Because I'm not even exaggerating, right? These messages are super bad and they're staying up because the moderation team is probably looking at them being like, yeah, that guy critiques our game. He deserves it. And you know, that's the stance that they have on feedback when they're fucking putting all the feedback channels in read only. Bro, there's another one too. Oh, hell no. Oh, from February 23rd? Honestly, that might not be me. This might be a misfire here. They said the saint, so they might be referring to a character in the story. Yeah, they might be referring to a character in the story because I hear from they're just gonna pull a doctor from the AK type stories. So I think this one's a misfire. Yeah, I'm not gonna actually be blamed to somebody like that without any knowledge. Yeah, that ain't my thing. Ooh. Oh, here we go. Here's another one from yesterday. Oh, I see. Oh, now we're talking about forced lobotomies. Huh? It's crazy what you're allowed to talk about on this server. It is wild what you're openly allowed to say about me on this official Enfield Discord server. What is actually wrong with these guys? Do they even try? Do they even try? Good Lord. They're too lazy to. Too hard to do your job as a Discord moderator. Maybe give it to somebody else at this point. Because I'm going to be honest, this community is not going to look very good after this video. And you have nobody to blame except yourselves, the community managers, for letting all this shit happen, never doing anything until you're explicitly called out. And that's because you're really fucking terrible at your jobs. Or you have a heavy bias towards me. But that bias is why you're terrible at your fucking jobs. Ladies and gentlemen, Saint from the future over here. Bit of an update on some of those past, well, threats, wishes that we saw in the official Endfield Discord. It appears that their mod mail is broken again. So I guess they're just looking for, again, for any excuse possible to just... Why is wishing for Israel to bomb a CC allowed in your Discord server? Yeah, that message do kind of hit different. Yeah, sometimes you got to get a little bit funny with them, right? Because this is objectively, it is a goofy ass message to send to the mod mail. But what else are you supposed to do when your message cannot be delivered? What is wrong with these guys? These guys are just complete bums. So yeah, another expose for the Enfield community, for the toxic positivity, and of course, just the toxicity as a whole when it comes to this game. Because how could you be positive when this is what the developers are doing to it? And why don't we just go ahead and gang up on, start hurling some insults, start hurling some threats at the only people that actually care and want to fix whatever the going wrong with this game, because there's too much to even talk about. That'll be that for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you all thought. Peace out.